are here to talk about my supernatural life. Hey guys, I know my intros are cringy, but is that really what we're here for? My cringy intros? No, of course not. Scratch that. We are here to... I am here. It's been a while, okay? Okay, I'm going to be talking about my supernatural experiences where I've either encountered a ghost or I've seen a ghost. And this is not clickbait, okay? This is not clickbait. This actually happened to me. I actually saw these things and it just experienced it. So, quick disclaimer, if you are scared of stuff like this, then still stay, because like, don't leave. Like, I think all my life I've like always known that I could like see things and stuff, and like this isn't weird or like trying to like, I don't even know. So my first experience that I can remember is the first house I lived in. The second house or the first, I don't know, because I do move around a lot. The first house, there was always knocking in the garage, and that was a bit weird because there would be no one in the garage, and I don't know if this is normal for people, but we would be playing by the garage door, we would hear knocking, and we would open it. No one would be in there. Keep in mind, I was like 3 years old, like 4, around there. Like I was like 4, 5, 3. But I started noticing this when I was like really young, and I can still remember me and my sister sitting there, and we would hear knocking, and then we would open it. No one would be there. So now we're like, okay. And when the door would be closed, we would be near it playing games, and then we would hear the door open and then slam. And it was so creepy because the door was closed, and for you to hear the door open and then close, and it was that door, because all the other doors, if there was other doors in the house, you would see it, but it's just like you feel the vibrations of the door. It would open and close, but it would stay closed. Yeah, it's pretty creepy. If you know what I'm talking about, like you've either seen that before or you've like heard of it, then it'll make more sense. But if you're someone who's never really experienced supernatural appearances, then you're gonna be like, what is this hoe talking about? But I assure you, it was just the first one. The second one gets like scary, so caution to all you people who can't handle it. Still stay, because it's my video. Alright, so it's getting good. So, the good stuff. I was around 9 or 10, I believe. 8, 9, or 10. No, 8 or 9. Because I was in the 2nd grade. We had moved to this house neighborhood complex. And the backstory of this place, I think around the 50s or 60s, there was fire. There was a fire that burned down the whole neighborhood. Like, a lot of kids died. But I don't think it was the 50s or 60s, because we looked it up and it was like a long time ago. Like the 1920s or the 1930s. So they renovated the houses, they fixed it. So by the time it was 2009 or 2010 or 11, like whenever we moved over there, it looked modernized basically. So we moved in there, we were meeting everyone, and the house across from us, we heard that some man, a holy nice man, one day woke up and just shot up his family. So that was a nice warm welcome. Just a week staying there that happened. So that was really weird. So just that alone. So, you know, I was with my friends, everything, making new friends. And then there's this one girl, let's just call her Tanya. So Tanya, she's like, hey girl, did you know that where we're standing right now, there was like a fight, or I don't want to call it a war, but it was built on like our, and then she told me, yeah, our neighborhood was built on some type of war zone. Like, it broke out in fires. This whole place was burnt down, but they built it back up. And that's what they tell you on the lease. Because, like, I think when a lot of destruction happens in one area, like, they have to tell you. So then I was like, oh, that's cool. So, you know, when do you move here? And, you know, blah, 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 like, starting small talk. So that's what really rung a bell to me. I was like, oh, okay, well, that means a lot of death. And I'm like, that's fun. So a couple weeks pass, and I go to the kitchen to get some milk. And I remember when I opened the fridge door, got the milk out, I was going to go pour it in my cup. And you know how fridges naturally, they just like slowly close? Well, I turned around for 1 second, and the fridge closed so quick. It was like, boom. And then I remember thinking that my mom had saw me leave it open, and you know how if you leave the fridge open, things spoil. So I thought she must have closed it really fast to be like, yo, close it. So I looked back, and I didn't see anyone. So I was like, okay, well, I had to put it back. And I was a little kid. I had a habit of always leaving, you know, stuff open. So I opened it to go put it back. So first I opened it, and then I went to go get the carton of milk so I could put it in. I was, you know, slow. So it was open. The moment I turned on again, it closed super fast until I heard shaking in the fridge. Like, I thought the you know the shelves of the fridge, and sometimes it pops off and like things fall out. Yeah, I thought that's what happened. So I got scared. I'm like, yo, I'm about to get a freaking whooping. So I opened it to see if everything was okay. Everything was intact. Like, it sounded like everything just fell in there. Like, you know when someone closes it too hard and you just, everything just falls inside the fridge. I opened it, everything was intact. I could have swore I heard everything fall. And I was like, and I put back the milk, closed it, went about. That was the first thing in a while that I was like, okay, that's creepy. All right, my second encounter in that house was, it's like a week went by, and I was telling the neighborhood friends. So there was Peanut Head, the two rats, and Tanya and my sister. Peanut Head, they were twins, and their heads were shaped like peanuts. I don't know if it was a deformity. I was young, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And then there was the two rats. They're these two boys, and they were like always hiding in trash cans and stuff, and always stealing from our house, because we lived in the ghetto, mind you. Like, it was like a nice neighborhood, but it was in like the ghetto, so that can be, you know, crazy. So we were all walking in a group. We were young, so we were just walking, talking, and we were like, yo, this neighborhood, it is creepy. And they were telling us how, you know, they've been seeing things, and things have been really creepy, and it was really weird. So I was sharing my stories too, and then they're like, yo, sometimes when I'm taking a shower or something, I'll see the shadow. Because in our houses, we had these windows that were like marble-ish. Like, you couldn't see right through it, but it was like, you know what I'm talking about, like those windows that are just there for show, for like light, but you can't see right through it. It's like this foggy, natural fogginess built into the glass. Yeah, that. And when you touch it, it's like a bumpiness. Yeah, those windows. So we had it in there. So if there's a shadow, you can fully see the shadow, or like a hand. So they'll be like, yo, we're like showering, and we'll see a hand there, and then when we look, it's like that. Or we'll see a shadow there, and then when we turn around and try to like analyze it, it'll back up real quick. And we were getting really, really freaked out. And as we were walking to the bus ramp, they were like, oh, you know what? Let's go swimming tonight. And we were just little jits, and at the time my mom was always working, and I had like I had a cousin staying with us, so he was super chill. So we would go swimming at night, and it was fun. So I guess the second encounter was like a talk. Real encounter was we were coming back and we were going swimming. So we were in the pool, and the whole purpose was if we see a car, we duck under the water, don't breathe, hold your breath, obviously, and then when we think it's gone, we come back up and we keep on like swimming and talking. And it was pretty cold outside, but we didn't really care. We were rebel. The whole gang. So they were out there swimming, and all of a sudden I feel this tug on my leg, and I was like, y'all need to chill. Like, it's freaking cold out here. It's after hours. It's like 11 p.m., almost 12. Like, what is this? I think, was this a school day? No, this was a weekend. This was like Friday, I believe. Okay, just making sure it's not, if anyone that knows me saw this, I'm just like, it was a Friday, because till this day I could still get whooped for swimming without permission. Like, it's that bad. But anyway, so I felt tugging on my leg. So I went underwater, opened my eyes, saw nothing. Everyone was on the other side of the pool. I swam. I didn't really stick with the people. So as I was there, I felt another tug on my leg. And then I was like, what is this? So I look down, and there's this black mass just around my leg. And I scream, and I swim over to them, and then like, yo, there's a black mass under me, like, oh my gosh. And then they're like, Tiffany, all of us are over here. I don't understand how you felt tugging. And then they were getting scared, and then they're like, a black mass, like a black figure under the water. Tiffany, chill, like, let's just finish up swimming, because we didn't want to leave, because once we left, it was like you're home, and we didn't have phones or anything because we were little kids. So we didn't want to part from each other, because we wanted to like stay and hang out, and it was gonna be boring without our friends. So we were like, you know what, let's just suck it up. There's nothing going on, so just chill. So I was like, alright. So I went back there, and we saw a car coming. And the whole routine was, if you see one, duck under, because it's after pool hours. So we ducked under, went up, and then, time passes, I'm fine, I'm swimming. And then the car comes around again. It's the second time. So like, okay, we duck under, up again. Then it comes around a third time. We noticed this is the same car. And the car model, we were like, oh, okay, because the car model, it looked really nice and old and authentic. It wasn't weird seeing cars like that. We were like, okay, it looked like it was from the 50s or 60s. It looked old, and it was black, like just black. And I guess like the rims or like the whatever was like silver. So it was black and silver. It looked nice, whatever. So the third time it passed by, we were like, is this car stalking us? And we were getting really, really creeped out. And our cousin was like 30 something, like he was old enough. So we told him, we were like, hey, should we be worried? And then he was like, nah, it's chill, we're cool. So then we were like, okay. So we started swimming some more. So then it comes around a fourth time. Even though we think that that's a bit weird, we still duck under. So as I was under, I heard, like, I could hear someone say, I could hear someone say, like, you know how you can hear people underwater when you're under still? Yeah, so I heard someone say, we can come up now. So as I was trying to get up, it was like glass was hitting my head, and I could not get up. Like, I could not get out of the water. And I felt this hand, it felt extremely cold, like grab my leg. And it was like, I could feel both hands just around my ankles, just doing that, just like yanking it. And I tried to scream, but I knew, I was smart. I knew all these girls screaming underwater, all these kids, you die. Like, cause you suck in the chlorine and you die. So I was like, oh my gosh, how am I still alive, honestly? Like, I've been through so much crap. Ugh. Anyways, trying to get out, and I felt like I was dead. I was like, it's a wrap, it's a wrap. Like, I could not breathe. I had to breathe. Like, I could not. So I was like, and then and I guess it created bubbles. So my cousin had to come and get me out. And then he was like, yo, I'm so stupid. Why are we out here? Like, he realized being the cool cousin wasn't really working because they were all under like 12 years old. My sister, she was in the 5th, I was in the 2nd. We were all like under age, blah, blah. And it was just a swimming pool, but it was 11 p.m., you know, and it's dark outside, like, we're just elementary kids. So then he was like, what? Oh my gosh, like, what if you could have died? Oh my gosh, they're freaking out. So then he was like, all right, let's go back to the house. So I was like, like, I was like dying, and he like helped me out, like, bleh. So then I was like, I told y'all something's under there. Don't believe me. Almost died. Oh my God. I was so frantic. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So we went back to the house, and we had the towels. So we were walking back, and yo, you guys scared me. Sorry, my siblings tried to scare me while I was making this scary video. How rude. Anyways, back to the good stuff. So, okay, let me stop. This is scary. So we were walking with our towels back to the apartments, houses. Oh my gosh. Okay, the reason I'm messing this up is because our houses looked like apartments. It was like mostly every house was 2-story. Like, that's it. It was 2-story. There was this like hood covering the car. There are really nice like looking houses, but some houses looked so old inside, and just because of all of the damage, they kept the design of the houses. And these houses were huge and 2-story, but they were stuck together like apartments, you know. And some people would call them townhouses, but I've been in townhouses, and just the setup of our apartments, it's not like a townhouse, but they're these huge 2 stories smushed into another, and it went around, but it wasn't like a townhouse, you know. This is pretty confusing. So why I'm going into detail, so you guys know like every single, like, y'all need to imagine this. So we were entering the house, and we went upstairs to our room, and we were drying off, talking. Each of us were taking a shower to get off the chlorine. Our cousin was downstairs. He washed off, and I guess he was studying because at the time he was in college. So we were up there talking about how the day went, because it was a Friday, just like, oh, you know. So then I was so shook. I was like, yo, that figure, whatever it was, it grabbed my leg, and I was shook about that. And then we brought up the fact, like, oh, that car, it kept on circling around. It looked pretty old and stuff, and it was 4 times. Like, that was really creepy. And one thing that I didn't really think that the others noticed was the car was coming by fast. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was like our apartment, like our house complex, neighborhood, apartment, whatever, okay, the complex was big. Like, it was pretty big. If you went to circle around it, it would at least take you 3 to 4 minutes, probably 5, because it was pretty big. So the fact that this car was circling around it, and every minute, like every 40 seconds, we would see it, and it just, if it was going that fast, like hitting the brake, like it would come by fast, like whoop, but it was like it was staking us out. But like, my whole point of this is that car was a ghost car. Google it. Like, that's creepy. Like, there's no way a car can do a 5-minute trip in under 40 seconds, and when you see it, it's not like whoop. It was like, And we never, it was, no, I'm sorry, that's creepy to me. That actually happened. It's like, we were like, that's a ghost car. And it's not like you would see it cut the corner. It's like, we would only see it like that. Just go like that. And then vanish. And it was dark, so we didn't really pay any attention. But I'm thinking now, I never saw it at the corner of my eye. Usually when a car is coming like this, you see it at the corner of your eye. No, like we literally saw it when it was right in front of us. And then we didn't see it go like that. So I honestly think it was a ghost car, you know, and I brought that like kind of an idea to my sister and my cousin. I was like, yo, and her friend, like there was 4 of us in that room. Yeah. And I was like, yo, that's really creepy. I think that car was like a figment of our imagination or something. Like, how's that even possible? And you know, it was like I almost died underwater. Like, I was so shook. I was trying to like explain all of this, and then they're like, you probably just tired, just go to bed. And I was like, don't they like we talk about what we see every single day, so why aren't they listening to me, you know? Probably because I was like 8 and they're like 12 or like 11. Like, they were older than me. Like, they thought that, you know. So the day finishes. My sister's friend goes home, and I guess it's around Saturday, so the next day. So in the morning, why am I looking? Oh, I hate when I do that. I'm sorry. I tried to look at the camera. When I talk, I really apologize, but my eyes wander a lot. So as I become better with YouTube, I will try to keep my eyes on the camera. Back to the story. So we went outside. It was Saturday morning. I had my neighborhood friends, and we just went out. We had a humongous tennis court in our neighborhood. That's why it was called Tennis Court Circle. And right next to it, there was a swimming pool. So we went out to the tennis court. We were talking. My mom and brothers were playing tennis, and we were just chilling out. And I was talking to Peanut Head, Peanut Butter and Jelly, those 2 twins. And I was like, yo, y'all didn't... Remember the twins? I still remember. Yeah, basically. So I was talking to Peanut Head and then I was like, yo, you guys didn't notice anything weird last night? And then they're like, nah, I mean, like, that car was weird, like it wanted to kidnap us, but that was about it. I was like, okay. So we walk over and we're playing like throw ball or like whatever. We have the ball, we throw it, and then we're catching it like that. So we were doing that, and this little white boy walked up to us. And this is a black neighborhood. It's mostly black. Mind you, this was like, it wasn't in the ghetto, but I called it that because I had just come back from my country, living over there for a couple months. So I was like, yeah, this is the ghetto, I guess. So I saw 0 to no white people. So that was like, okay, that's cool. They're, you know, coming over to play. So this little white boy comes, and my black friends, they were like, who's this little white boy? And then we were like, just let him come play with us. And we were really confused because most white kids who ride their bikes around this area, they ride them fast. Like, they're not stopping. So we're like, okay, that's weird that a white kid actually comes into our neighborhood. So, and this kid was dressed a bit differently. He had like brown suspenders, and he had like brown shorts, and his shirt was a white frilled button up to here, and his shoes were brown too, and his hair was like slicked back like that, and it was like, you know, slicked and then like that. And he looked young, about 7 or 8, around our age. So like, okay. So he came around, and he looked a bit pale, but yet again, I didn't really see that many white people. I guess, like, I saw white people, obviously, but I didn't see that many because of where I was living. So I was like, the paleness. Now that I look back at it, I'm like, he was obviously sick or something. That's not normal. But me being young and not really seeing many Caucasians, I'm like, oh, okay, I thought it was normal, you know. So he comes up to us and he's like, may I please play? And we're like, sure, yeah, bird, you can play. So we are passing the ball thing, and he's catching it. I remember, I feel like I'm crazy, but like literally, like he was catching it. I'm pretty sure he was a human, like, yo. And I'm not trying to be weird, but you're gonna understand why I'm saying this in about five seconds. So we were catching it. And then Peanut Head, like, till this day, I'm like, that kid was so slow. He threw it too hard at the kid. And it hit him in the face. And then he was like, yo, sorry. And they were laughing because they're, ugh. And then I was like, yo, shit, like, that's not funny. Say sorry. And then when this kid does this, he, like, the ball hit him in the face. But we weren't really paying attention that it was staying there. Like, you don't, like, let's say you throw something at someone and then it sticks like that, and you're like that, like it sticks there, you know, like that's what the ball did to his face. So it was like that to his face, and we were just laughing, carrying on, and we didn't really notice that it was just there hovering. Like, I saw it in the corner of my eye, but I assumed that it wasn't what I thought. Because I always saw things as a kid and heard things. So I was like, it's just all in my head. So I carried on like everything was fine. But then Jellyhead, so there's Peanut and Jelly. So Jelly, he did this, like, and then we all noticed that it was sticking to his face. And then he was just there like, and then he took the ball from his face with both of his hands, and oh my gosh, it was the scariest thing. Till this day, it is imprinted in my brain. We were all freaking out, I swear on my life. This kid's face, it looked like he had no face. It was like 5th degree burns. It was like his whole face was burned off. Like, if you Google people born without a face, that's how it looked like. It was, at first, when he took it off, it was like hollow, like he had no face. And then, the moment you blinked again, 5th degree burns. It was so bad. We were all screaming and yelling like, oh my gosh, what the hell? Or that, like, we were screaming and freaking out, and we ran so fast. And I remember Peanut Head had the ball, and he was like, yeah, like, he threw it at him, and we ran. We were like, oh my gosh. And this kid is just there, and he just turns like this and just walks away. We were running for our lives, and it was daytime. We were like, no one else saw this. Yeah, like, no face. And we were running, and I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And then they're like, why did we even move over here? What is this? Like, we were just questioning our existences at that point. Like, it was so crazy. So that happened, and I was really getting freaked out, because that kid, we were like, first of all, that kid looked like that car. Like, we were just saying, that kid looked just as creepy as that car. Like, they pair up. Like, we couldn't really we couldn't really analyze it, like the kid's fashion and the car's way that it was made was from the same time era or whatever. We couldn't make that out. I couldn't, because I was young. I was like 8 or 9, around there. I remember I was 8. Then I was 8. I was 8.5. I have to make sure I was like, you know, yeah. So that was really creepy. Like, till this day, like, it was so weird. And the ears were like, so like the ears, try to get my ears, it was like that, like, it was just not fun to look at. So we're running home, and they ran to their houses. All my friends ran to their houses. Like, they ran to their mom. It was like they ran. So I ran in my house, and we were freaking out. who was even, I don't even think, because I can't remember what went on in the house, but I remember I just ran to the house. And that's all I can really remember. We just ran to the house. I guess, obviously, we were like talking to our cousin about it, I guess. Like, I can't remember the moment I stepped in the house, but my brain's taking me to when I ran in there. Boom. So, that was my third encounter. This is pretty long. My fourth encounter was the creepiest one. And you guys have to stay attentive if you want to really understand. So at this point, I'm pretty acquainted. That neighborhood had a lot of supernatural activity going on, a lot of paranormal activity. So I was like, you know what? This is enough. I remember on the desktop, we looked up the tennis court circle and all of it, all the backgrounds. And we found out this little boy got burned to death inside of his home. And guess where the house was? It was right in front of the swimming pool, and his father shot the whole family and then himself. That was near the tennis court. And that incident, I think 10 years later, when we first moved in, then that was the same thing. So we were at our house in our room. My cousin was over, let's call her Agatha. I know it's weird, but it's okay. And my sister was there too. I was painting my nails in the corner. They were talking, eating. We had the radio on. I know, back in the day. So we had the radio on, listening to Barbie or something, like a Barbie CD. And it was lit, let me tell you, like you don't even know, my god. So we were listening to the Barbie CD. And all of a sudden, I hear this noise of a plastic small ball going down wooden stairs. And the reason why it's so specific is that I know my sounds. Just like you hear this, it's obviously something light tapping on something heavy. So I hear it again, and I'm like, wait, my mom has a blue stress ball, but her stress ball is like 5 pounds. It is a heavy, chunky, squeezy stress ball. So if it were to come down the stairs, it would not sound like that. And then I hear this noise, this dropping noise, and it's like it's rolling down the stairs. Like it's like boom, boom, boom. So I'm like, okay, now somebody has the stress ball and they're rolling it down the stairs. Like that's what it sounds like, you know? So then my cousin realized that, and then my brothers, they were asleep, but you know, they could wake up. So then she was like, yo, are your brothers awake? And then we were like, yeah, I think they're sleeping and we don't want to go check because, you know, we're scared. Like, yeah, they're sleeping. Like, yeah, like, well, like, let them die, whatever. And I remember, and the reason why it's dark is because I'm telling like a really creepy true story. So I want the setting to be dark and spooky. So don't think I'm like low budget, no lighting. No. This is supposed to be dark and scary. So this is why it's like this. So I heard, so fast forwarding, I heard like boom, boom, boom. I heard the stress ball. I knew it was the stress ball because of the heavy impact that was going down the stairs. And I was wondering, who's playing with the stress ball? Like, who's up? And my brothers were not up. They were asleep. I knew that. Like, once they're knocked out because they're like little toddlers. So then my sister, my cousin, they're like, yo, y'all thirsty? Go down and get some drinks, get some milk. And we just, like, mainly, the main drinks that we had were either water or milk. So we preferred to drink milk because we, like, loved milk. So I went down first. I went down to go get some milk. I saw the stress ball was on the floor next to the stairs. I was like, yo, you know what? Honestly, I'm not going to let it get to my head. So I'm walking to the fridge. I open it. I'm getting the milk out. As I'm getting the milk carton out, I peek and I Okay, I'm making sure that there's nothing behind me, like I'm so paranoid. But yeah, I peek and I see this white leg, and it's moving really fast. Like, you know, people that are having a conversation and they tend to be very energetic and their legs are moving or their body is shaking. That's what I saw. And I was like, oh my gosh, someone broke into our house. And as I was moving back with the milk, I bumped the freaking knife drawer, like a drawer in your kitchen. And I started hearing mumbling as soon as that happened. And I got so scared, I ducked down and I was creeping. Like, I remember the floor was so cold, my knees were killing me. And I peeked like that, and I saw one grown behind boy. He looked like he was 14. He had a black little bow tie. He had black suspenders. He had khaki, kind of like a khaki-ish looking shorts, long white socks, and black shoes. And his hair was dark. He had like bags under his eyes, and he was like glowing. Like in the dark, he was glowing pale. And the other boy, he looked younger. He looked like he was 4 or 8. Like, he just looked very young. But he had the exact same outfit as the boy we saw outside that had no face. But he had a face. So I screamed so loud, and I was running up the stairs. I left the milk there. I was like, let me in, let me in. Like, I'm not doing this today. And then they finally let me in, and then they're like, Tiffany, what's wrong? What's wrong? What isn't it? And then I was like, there are these 2 ghost boys downstairs talking. I don't know what's wrong. Oh my gosh, we need to move out now. And then my cousin Amanda, she was like, yo, guys, y'all play too damn much. Like, there's nothing here. My sister, she knew. She was like, yeah, maybe we should just go down there and check. Like, you know, let's just go down there and check. I was like, do y'all not see the movies where the girl goes down there, checks, and then dies? But of course, they were listening, so we all went down there, and we saw nothing. We turned back up to go back upstairs, and the stress ball was at the top of the stairs. And I was like, that's really, really weird. I don't understand why it's at the top of the stairs. And I started coming down real slow. And we turned around, and the 2 boys were just standing there like they were ready to like walk up to us. And we ran up that stair. Like, we were running, and we entered the room. We slammed it, but my cousin Amanda was, do you know what I just noticed? I gave away her name. Oh well. So her anonymous name was supposed to be, anyway, whatever. So and it's getting dark up in here, my good. So we ran up there, and as it may have it, lo and behold, we left her outside. So she was knocking like, oh my gosh, guys, let me in. And we were so scared that if we let her in, we would let the demon boys in too. So we were like, girl, take one for the damn team. I am sorry. She's like, no, please let me. It was so funny. And then, oh my god. And then she came in. We closed the door. And we were talking about it. We were crying. It was so traumatic. Like, it was really traumatic. And basically, that was my paranormal thing. I saw a real ghost in my life, like a real, actual ghost. Ever since I was a kid, every house I lived in, there's always something really weird and paranormal. So yeah, this wraps up this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It's really dark, and of course, this was on purpose for the sole purpose of this scary video. Sorry that my language is really off today, and my throat's really dry, and I just want to continue watching How to Get Away with Murder, because that is my show. If you haven't watched it, then watch it, because you are not living your life. Have a blessed day, and I will see you, scary people, next time. Bye. Please do not play a Ouija board, because if you think my story is creepy, if you play a Ouija board, it will be way worse. And trust me, you do not want to meet ghosts like that. Ouija boards, nah. Bye-bye.